Here we go. He's back in action. We back?
We're almost live.
All right. I got to remember how to do this. Like riding a bicycle, huh?
Been a while, ain't it?
Been a while. We're probably live.
We are live.
I gotta get
There
on.
we
Oh,
are.
you on there?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit late to the party. I don't have our
That's
guys
all right.
here to log me in.
Better late than never.
There we
Where's
go. There we
Josh?
go.
Where's Josh when you need
On
him?
the beach. All right, here we go.
Happy
All right.
Wednesday, everybody. Thank
Hey,
y'all.
y'all liable to have the most dang people you ever had. The king is back. Hey,
Weatherman back in the
I
studio
should
with us
have
today.
put Shawan up here just for a second, got the fuse, and then we checked out. So, Drew, you can see, hey, I come very prepared today.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, look at
Nothing.
this. Is what happens when you still green. I'm just kidding. He knows a lot more than I do, because hey, that's good stuff. Is that your blood pressure?
Yes, it is. So, sitting up here with you, it usually starts about right
Right.
here once you get going. So,
Yeah. Well, hey, I know you got a great topic.
yeah, so thank y'all for tuning in. Real Estate 101 every week. We try and, bring information to you guys, maybe just to enlighten you on the market, what's the new trends. And if you could, do it. If you're not going to do it for me, please do it for Tommy, GoodTimeTommy himself. Like and share the stream,
Hell.
please. We would greatly,
For me.
yeah, or do it for Weatherman.
There you go.
Shoot. We could, it would really help us out. Do you have a shout out for the day, by the way?
Yeah, man, I got to shout out every day. Hey, my shout out goes to none other than, hey, Joey Richardson.
Oh,
And
Joe
so,
Rich.
no, I'm just kidding. We like Joey Richardson. He's our building, but I will say that my shout out goes out to Brian Burns at Blue Sky. Man, we've done several deals with this guy. We don't represent Brian. He builds a great product, and he's busy, but, man, he did some things to take care of our folks to get them in the house while we're waiting on some appraisal. So, Burns, thank you, and definitely those guys over there, they build a great product, man, and it's hard to get. And, man, he's got some cool stuff coming. That's another show for another day, but that guy has some cool stuff coming.
Hey, all I can say is rooftop.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Rooftop.
Rooftop
But
cabanas.
that's
Man.
not the first time he's done that. We had a client that
Yes,
we got
exactly
in
right.
early too due to some circumstances. So
And
shout
most
out
builders
Brian
don't do
Burns.
that, man. It's such a hazard to do that because you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. But well, today we'll kind of get right into it. What we're talking about is where have all the homes gone? Where
Yeah.
why are we so low right now? How come?
Peekaboo.
But I think
Hey, you probably got a theory with your notes, and then I got a theory with all my notes.
well,
And, hey, let's see yours.
I want
Let's
to
see
hear
yours.
You
No,
want to hear mine?
I'm gonna hear
Well, so going in, this hot market that we're in right now, which is absolutely crazy,
you. Oh yeah.
absolutely ridiculous, and I feel like there's something to do with how interest rates are so low right now, and I feel like that has a lot to do with inventory, with how low interest rates are, and then of course. We've talked about it 1,000 times about how COVID affected stuff. So I feel like these low interest rates have really, shocked the market.
Yeah.
And that's why we have such a low inventory.
What was the girl on June, the daughter's name that Drake used to drink? What was the little girl's name?
Junebug?
No, the little girl. Honey Boo Boo. Yeah, what's that little drink she used to drink? That's what my,
Pixie stick.
Pixie. Oh yeah, that was my pixie stick. So yeah, interest
You
rates.
love those. You love
Yeah,
those.
yeah, I do like them. By far, interest rates make somebody that can't buy this price buy that price.
Yeah.
So what it is, when interest rates drop, you qualify for more.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is, and what I've seen in the market, without stealing the show, that's what happens when you get me back here, Drew. What I've seen in the market, people that actually are, everybody's great to deal with, but the ones that are buying like these 500 and 550s and 450, man, they are the best folks to work with because that's a house they never would have thought they got. So that's the cool thing about interest rates. People are being able to afford 700. We've had the best, like we got a neighborhood called Harvest Woods, and everybody is great, but that is probably a 650 and up now, and it was a 550. I mean, when we started, we was hoping we could get something in there under 5. Man, everybody's been delighted because the house they're getting now at 2.75, at 3.1, man, they couldn't get a couple years ago because it was a 4.5 or 5.
Yeah. And do you feel like a lot of those people too, would you say it's probably their second house? They're moving on from
Yeah,
their first
absolutely,
house?
absolutely. So there's a big
third
jump.
house?
We missed a leap.
Yeah.
So if you ever noticed, first time home, second time home, third time, unless your job just skyrockets.
Yeah.
You know, so
But-
they went from 1 to 3 that fast.
And, you know, another thing with those people is how much equity you think they're getting out their first home. You know, if they've been there, let's say 5 to 8 years, there's no telling how much equity they're cashing out on, you know, their first time home buyer house
Yep.
they bought for, let's say, 150, 140
Yep.
back a few years ago. Now they're cashing out probably 100 plus in equity in it.
I can't give you the address, but I will tell you a statistic that I know it without a doubt. There is a house that is not closed yet, that is being built, that's closing very soon, has already got $100,000 equity in it, and it's priced under $700,000. That is where the market's been in the last 8 or 9 months. That doesn't happen to everybody. It just fell perfect for these ones. There's also a house similar to this area that's probably at $150,000 because of the jump in the lumber and everything else. So sometimes, if you bought 2 years ago, you rolled the dice, you win. If you bought in a recession, you rolled the dice, you lost before the
Yeah.
recession. So it's just what a market. My theory is it's because of that dang show, The Voice. Blaze Hilton, man, I'm telling you, they made Nashville popular. I don't care what anybody says. Nashville is a madhouse, man. Has anybody been to downtown Nashville now?
It's where it's before COVID.
Now, which is wonderful for us.
Absolutely.
And it's wonderful for our state, it's wonderful for everything. So low interest rates, great spot to be, big tourist area, great schools. Man, that's why you see this.
Keeps rising. I remember the first night in Nashville, I think a couple weeks ago, when it completely opened up. I saw a video from someone on a rooftop. Maybe it was a drone, and it just showed you everybody on the strip and
Yeah,
everybody on the
crazy.
rooftop bars. I've never seen Nashville so packed. And I mean, that goes to show there's no telling. There's millions of people down there on any given Friday, Saturday night.
So what we're seeing, and you've seen it, and everybody's seen it. So if we did it, we could probably go back. And the show that me and Tommy did, the ratings weren't nowhere as good as y'all's, but we talked about iBuyers. You remember iBuyers? Or the investment buyers that were cash?
Yeah.
We wasn't crazy about those guys because they would control the market. Now, who do we want to buy our houses? Why?
Cash offers.
There you go, comps. So what we did is we also jumped past the comp level. And that's what we're dealing with. That's why our inventory, we don't have any inventory.
Yeah.
Because of, if you tried to find a house now, how much inventory does it show on your stats? What our inventory level is, how many months or anything similar to that?
Yes, so I got a rough number for month supply. And Van, you can bring up the one about the historically monthly supply of houses over in the United States
gosh.
since 1965. But you know, I have homes built too. We're getting to that as well. But
Hey, whoa, don't you ever talk to GTT like that. Oh, none up here.
I wanted to show the monthly supply of houses first before we
Yeah.
get into the number of homes being built, because that's another reason why we're
Wow.
so low. But Van,
That should happen. Sorry about that.
that's the wrong one, Van. Can you do the one from Fred, the monthly supply of houses in the United
It's up
States?
there now. It's just a little.
So this
Gotcha.
is across the nation?
Yes. So
Okay.
this
Gotcha.
is from 1960, starting in 1960, showing from 20 until now 2021. This is showing, you know, how low we are in inventory. You know, we're at a record low. There's nowhere, you know, even close besides 2000, but you know, it hopped back up real quick there.
So these are national numbers, right?
Yes.
So we know that at some states that we are above national ranking.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now if you think about we're all-time low, now let's look at where Tennessee falls in that gap now.
Well, because we're, you know, number one desired place to be, Middle Tennessee, you know, we're so much lower than the nation average. And this doesn't even do our market justice, because I think it's sitting at right at 3 months supply. I don't even think, what do you think our supply is?
Oh, man, we ain't even got a month. We have
No,
probably
we're-
3 weeks.
I
If
was
we
about
have,
to
we may
say.
have 2 weeks
Yeah.
for like a certain price point. You know, certain price points are.
It's,
And you know what the 3-month supply means? If nothing else got listed, how long would it take to sell off our inventory?
yeah.
So if you looked at our overall supply, maybe 3 months, maybe, but it's so hard because we really don't know what's out there, what's coming.
Well, I think it's hard to even judge at this point, because, you know, there's so much stuff being sold daily. Like they can't even keep up with,
Yeah.
you know, this house that got listed on Friday and was off the market by Saturday morning or by Sunday. Like it doesn't even have enough time for it to track accurate numbers of
Yeah.
our monthly supply or even weekly supply because things are moving so damn quick. It's
Yeah.
like that, especially if you're looking anything from, I mean, $0 upwards to 800,000. It's especially in Murfreesboro. And 800,000, you would never think in Murfreesboro would, sell that quick.
I think it was, I've been in it 14 years now, I can't remember, but one of my second year or something, I sold a house in Riverbend, and it was a little bit over $500,000. And I was excited to get the listing. I didn't know how hard it was to sell a $500,000 house 10, 12 years ago. Literally, I think it was under 10 that sold, maybe, if it was that many. It wasn't a lot. So that we just wasn't in that market yet.
No.
You know what I mean? And so now it's just common.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're struggling. So if all the houses are gone, and we got these stats with all-time low, so
Yep.
where would you got another stat? So I don't want to mess your stats up.
I do have
That's
another
good
stat,
stats.
but with the picture, the graph we just saw about the inventory.
Yep.
Now, Van, if you could show the interest rate by the years,
yeah.
and we can kind of compare that and show you,
I've heard about that one. I've never seen
Oh,
it.
back in the 80s, whenever
Mm-hmm.
it hit 19, almost 19%.
Can you imagine that? So what do you think if you had a 19% interest rate? How much would that change what kind of house you could buy?
That would change.
I want Tommy, do you have any, I mean, golly, how much would a payment go up from 3% to 19%, 18%? A lot. A lot. I mean, we don't, it's so, the math is so high.
Yeah.
It don't even, exactly right. I mean, so it's crazy. But I think it's never been over 7 when I've been in it, 14 years, and it's been 6 really. And then we hit 5, we hit 4. I mean, I heard somebody got a 2 point something the other day, and somebody got a 2.
I saw a VA loan that was at like 2.3,
Yeah.
which is absolutely unheard of.
Man.
But if you can look at the end of this graph in 21, we're under 3, and
Yeah.
that's historical right there. And there's, like we said, we've had
Yeah.
people get sub 2s, like 2.3.
Mm-hmm.
That's a ridiculous interest rate.
The cool thing about our trend lines, and I don't know anything about stocks, but this is like a stock line.
Yeah.
It looks like it's still going down, and even if it comes up, man, in the past several years, even from here, it's still under 7.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a 6 or a 5 is a good interest rate. The problem is when you hit historicals, when you hit a 4, which is a great rate,
Yeah.
it crushes people. It's like, oh my God, I got a 4% interest rate. What am I gonna do? That's too high. I mean, because we got 2s and 3s. So that's something you have to deal with as agents and as people buying or selling. Anytime that thing moves. Now, let's say we're building a new construction house. How long can we lock a rate in?
I mean, 90 days is normally, but 120. I know a lot of lenders have moved to 120 days to lock.
Locking a rate in? Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. So hey, let's check if the Drew's right, 120. I thought it was like 45. I don't know, but maybe.
I know.
You can continue paying daily rate locks.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, but that's what a lot of people are nervous about is
60 used to be the.
60, there you go.
60.
That's what a lot of people are nervous about is if I build this house, they're nervous because what's my interest rate going to be
Yeah.
in 8 months or 7 months with supply and demand. So if we got all-time low interest rates, very low inventory, how do you survive in this market? One word. How you got this, Drew?
What-
Got it.
What's your idea of the one
It's
word?
knowledge, man. Knowledge
Oh,
is
yeah.
power in everything in life you do. Knowledge is key. The ones that are making it and the ones that are doing for their clients and protect them is the ones that know where things are, knows about the market, knows about the area, knows about the builders. So you have to have knowledge in a tough market. Now, a year ago, year and a half ago, anybody and everybody could have got the real estate license and got somebody and sold them a house. Today, it doesn't matter. If you don't know where stuff is for your clients or your sellers, you're in trouble.
Or if you don't even know how to win offers,
Yeah.
especially over my list, I had a lot of agents just ask me. They were like, "What do I need to do in this market to win offers?" And it's you just gotta find it.
Sometimes
find the best
working,
key for
being
yourself.
truthful. I mean, hell, don't nothing. Clean,
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I don't know that this is the problem. Is this could get lower?
Yeah.
The interest rates I don't think will get lower, but the
Yeah.
inventory because we're hurting for certain price points.
Yep.
And you already talked about earlier, and I know we may be going longer, but you're such a good host. God. It starts when it goes in. So what about our lots? And so what about new construction and building? And where are we at with that?
Yep. Well, that's a whole nother thing that I believe is why our inventory is so low. Van, if you can bring up the chart about
You gotta be kidding me.
number of homes built.
We
So-
just rolled right into that one.
So you led me right into it, weatherman. But this is a big thing that I feel like is still really hurting us right now. So if you look at whenever that chart Van has pulled up, if you look at homes built between 2010 and 2019,
Good gracious.
it is way lower than it has ever been. Besides, of course, 1900 and earlier.
All right, so tell me, so just for that chart, so you're saying between 2010 and 2019, what does that 5.8 stand for?
that's 5.8 million homes built in that year.
And, okay, and so, golly, so it just went, so it means we don't have land, we don't have lots.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it was because, before everything happened in 2007, we had all these builders, they were making good money off the houses. And then, the
These
depression.
are after recession years too,
Yes.
so. So these are fresh, kind of, Tommy give you a better date of the recession, but it's right about the time I started. So I know that this is when it was coming out. People had bought the lots, which was probably here. So this is when they had to start probably developing again.
Yep.
Which guess what? The first few years probably banks didn't want to lend money on it. They had to pay a lot of more. People didn't want to take the chance. Developers were scared to death. I mean, we got a guy in here that his dad is a developer, and so he'll probably tell you too that he didn't want to develop anything else after coming out of that. After he had a, so
It's
that
probably
was
scary.
probably. But now then we get into it. But what that did though is I think that hurt us because that there's a fear there,
Yeah.
and everybody had it. Agents had it, people had it. It didn't matter what you had. It was that we didn't have it, so now we're paying the price
Absolutely.
to get it. So
Well,
now
what
we're
do
paying
you
more.
what do you think it's going to continue to do? Because if you look at lumber and how the prices of everything has skyrocketed as well after COVID, do you think it's going to continue to grow at a slow rate, or what? What is your
No, I mean,
projection
well, I
on it?
got to my whole opinion on it is that I think it's going to go up, but I think it goes up with national builders. I think it goes up with more. There's a different style of house, and we're seeing those moving to our market. So
Yeah.
only some of the smaller hometown folks will probably be around because it's going to be harder and harder. It's getting harder and harder to find those individual lots. So unfortunately, those guys have got smart buyers, and they're already here. They've been here. They're buying up land. We don't even know about it, and boom, all of a sudden you're seeing their neighborhood come
Yep.
up. And if anybody's in real estate, they know that.
How is the lack of inventory affecting comps?
Oh my gosh, it
mean-
depends on if you got a loan. If it's cash, there's no problem. But we skipped. Not only did we skip that second home, we skipped that second home's values. And so, unfortunately, you're trying to find comps to justify it, and then you got to also justify it to your sellers because their house is worth it. The problem is there's just not enough stuff out there to show that.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. When you have no inventory, you'll pay whatever you have to pay to get a house. And so the biggest part of our inventory being low is it's not only because of everything, COVID and lumber, and it's because our state is such a hot spot for people moving out of other areas because of what we have, of where we are. I mean, and Nashville has an airport. So, we have schools, we have great taxes, we have everything that people want to come here. And when they come here with pockets. And when I say pockets, they got deeper pockets. So they don't mind to pay these house prices. Now, eventually, it's going to level out to where only a certain person is going to be able to afford it because now we've raised the bar.
Yeah.
So we're raising the bar now and we're feeling the pain.
Yeah.
But this is across anybody, Austin, Texas is dealing with it now. Seattle's done dealt with it. I mean, there's so many places that have dealt with this. And so it's just our turn. And so now you got to figure out as buyers, sellers, agents, how do you adapt and overcome these situations?
You gotta find the good ways to get it done, because you're right. These people coming from California, Washington, Colorado, they got a lot deeper pockets.
What happens
because,
when you sell a house and it
the
doesn't
market.
appraise about $30,000? What happens when they can't and you got a seller and a buyer and we're 10 days away or 7 days? So this is what we're dealing with. And so this is where you have to adapt. This is where you have to overcome. This is where you have to have those good conversations up front. And even though we think we have them, it's hard to have it at the end, even if you didn't have it, because even though they didn't lose it, they're still losing $30,000 if they take a less offer. Because in their mind, they lost it.
Yep.
So that's what that number also creates.
Absolutely. And they're, after they lose that one, they got to go back, redo everything, relist. So it's really more of a headache. So,
Yeah. But hey, the good thing is there's houses out there, there's stuff out there. You just got to go out there and find it.
hmm
You know.
you got to know your product, know where it's at.
God, you're great. Fantastic.
I learned that from him.
Man, you're fantastic. Hey, I had a good time. I hope to be back soon.
Yeah. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. What you got, Van
Hey, we
Grafton?
missed one deeply today. So, hey, she is definitely wish she was here today.
Hey, I was gonna ask, I mean, with all the equity that everybody's got, why are people not listing?
Because they got to put that equity somewhere, and they're nervous because there's nowhere. So if you can go up, that you can. But the problem is so it depends on what kind of house you want. So let's say, great question from the guy behind the. Say you got a $200,000 house you bought 2-3 years ago. You bought it for $200. It's worth $300 now. You got a $80,000 after real estate. Now you're going from a $1,200, $1,300 a month payment with $80,000 at a 3% interest rate. So when you start doing that math, it's not a lot of money. It's $250 a month difference in a payment. So now to go from your next payment at a $500,000 house, because you got to find them. So we're missing the in between is what hurting us. Now, if you're in a 350 or 400, want to be at 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey man, you're probably in a lot better shape
Yeah.
because our 500s now, remember, are 3.5s a year ago.
Yep.
So-
Crazy numbers. Ridiculous numbers.
Yep.
But any other questions?
That was a great question.
What you got?
Is it true John Jones came and saved the day?
Absolutely.
Let us know.
Hey, dun, da, da, da. Hey, he would be one that would answer that question. So, at the end of the day, guys, the market is what it is. It's better to be in a great market than a bad market. I promise you.
Absolutely.
I'll take these problems over the ones to where you can't sell if you have to. Here's another kicker. So this is what, and I've done it. I've said it. So I'm watching what I say now because it's getting harder. So if my son was selling the house now, I have no problem saying this live in front of the nation. I would tell him to cash out and rent. Only because I wouldn't want to be in a hurry to have to buy something because no inventory. The problem is now, guess what? Hey, you can't find where to rent. I mean, so what this market is created other effects as well. So now you have to have that something. Or now, how many of us as agents have seen you can have this house, but you got to give us 60 days after you close? That's the new gimmick.
Oh,
The other
yeah.
gimmick was buy as is with acceptable home inspection. Now you got to close and give us 60 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're seeing that now. So all it is, they're adapting to the market.
Tommy, you have a question back here? Oh.
Yeah, when's it gonna be over?
Oh no, look, I ain't impatient. Hey, just innocent, close us out.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Every Wednesday, 1 o'clock, this is where we're at. If you could, like and share, we would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Weatherman,
Please
thank you
like
for
and
coming
share.
on.
Absolutely.
We enjoyed having you, but we missed you on. So, hopefully.
Yep. Why am I stuff blocked out?
Van, take us out. Thank y'all for tuning in.
What is that?